Um, and so, there have been other models that have looked at really scaling up how we look at educational planning. And I think the first step is really helping students believe that they can be successful and guiding them and providing the kinds of resources that will help them get there when they first enter college, to connecting them to those resources. I think that one of the a pivotal theme that we've heard over the years is that students really don't know what's available to them. They stumble upon resources, they rely on friends to give them information. They're not aware what's available to them. And it really impacts their ability to plan successfully in their college career. I think that's one critical factor. Um, and also being able to really refine their educational goals as they're going through their college experience. Um, Oftentimes students have said that when they get counseling, they just get advice on what classes to take. It's not really tied into where they see themselves going. It doesn't help them change course, um, um, very smoothly. And when we look at some of our data, it's kind of clear that a lot of students, particularly Latino students, take credits far beyond what they need. And given um, the low economic level of many of our students, they end up really spending time and resources that they don't really have. And we lose a lot of students along the way. So I think that we can look at other models nationally um, that really lay out some clear processes for helping students do improve kind of educational planning and tie them into the resources that they need. I think that's one thing that we can look at in terms of scalable resources. And also, I think critical to that is having some clear benchmarks and indicators for students. They really don't know what they should be doing in terms of obtaining certain credits, how that gives them momentum towards completion. It all really isn't clear to them, and they often spend a lot of time trying to figure this out on their own, and many times for many students they're not successful in doing that. So they've told us very clearly, tell us what these benchmarks, tell us what we should be working towards, give us a clear plan, and along the way help us understand our options and understand as our educational plans change and our goals change, what we need to do to be successful to kind of reach that goal. I think that's one area. I think the other areas will largely come in our classrooms, and I am certainly not, there's certainly a lot of room for policy and practice in our state, in our institutions. Uh, but I think that most significantly, when we have talked to hundreds of students, it is certainly their classroom experience that has kept them in college and really um, has been the impetus for an exit for our students. One thing that we have to think about is that our students are academically fragile, many of them. And one comment, one experience sends them out of that classroom to never return again. We've certainly talked to students who have been belittled and humiliated and have left college for a long time, some never to come back. So I think it's really critical for us to think about how do we create early success for community college students, particularly the most vulnerable students, and how do we do that in a way that people know that we're not lowering standards in any way, but that we're actually designing our courses in the way that our practices in the classroom to lead to greater success. One thing I think is very, very important to think about is that there's a tremendous cost to failure amongst our students. It's not just a personal cost for those students. Um, it's a cost to the college as we think about not being able to move students to completion. There's certainly a cost there that is something we can actually calculate. But there is a larger cost to the communities that these students come from, because what actually happens is that students um, basically walk away with a label of failure, and that translates to their communities, to their discussions with their siblings, with their cousins, with their friends. Uh, Something that we've really uncovered in our interviews with students is what impact it has when students start to be successful on their siblings, um, for parents on their children, and how being successful has helped them really understand how to help their children be more successful and prepare them for college. I think there are tremendous impacts. Um, some that people would say are not extremely measurable, but I don't think it's an area that we've looked at very closely in terms of our research. What that means for what the cost of failure is, both in terms of the institution and the community. And so, designing our classes for success, meaning that we're looking at we're embracing the cognitive and effective abilities that students bring into our classroom, that we dignify their experiences, and we build on it. Oftentimes, what students experience is you know uh, really having uh, their experience really shows what they don't know, and those early signs of failure sends them out of those classrooms very quickly. Um, Basically, the way that our classes are structured in a way that really focuses on what students don't know as opposed to building on what they do know. Um, I think that one of the clear things that we can see through many of our programs that focus on vulnerable students is that there is a certainly a feel that a high expectation of success and a support in that success. And it's not just between the faculty or staff members and students. It's really building community amongst students themselves and helping to improve their efficacy. Um, a lot of people say that that can be achieved through learning communities, but I think it goes beyond just creating a learning community. It's about creating a community with students, no matter if they're in a learning community or not, where they can build off of each other, that they can support each other in a way that helps them take better advantage of writing labs or math labs, of tutoring, and helps in the relationship between the faculty member and the students. Some faculty have said to us, it's really generative, that you're really building upon this sense of success. Now, all the things here I'm saying, it sounds like, how is that actually scalable? And it sounds a bit fuzzy. How do you get faculty there? I think that there is tremendous work going around that's going on in our state right now, and really looking at what I'm really talking about, which is really culturally responsive approaches. And I think that through networks that have already been created through certain initiatives, through certain programs, that we're seeing this as a very increasingly important part of the work that's being done. Will you get every faculty member there? Certainly not. But I think that much of our work needs to really focus on the classroom, while we're trying to address climate and environment at the institutional level. The reality is that we're not creating environments where students can thrive, and I think it's evident in the number of students that we are seeing leaving our colleges each semester.